AI is everywhere these days, and it is growing. AI, or artificial intelligence, is changing the way this world works. Now, most people interact with AI in the form of computer programs that are called large language models, or LLMs. Now, LLMs are designed to interact with people using normal human language. You can have a conversation with a computer in the same way that you would have a conversation with a human being. You can ask it questions, and the computer will give you answers in a normal human language, such as English. This is different from something called generative AI, which is to use a computer to create new content, such as new art, images, videos, music, and even computer code. But LLMs and generative AI are close cousins. In essence, they are ways that computers can become virtually indistinguishable from normal humans in terms of what we ask them to do. I think, therefore I am. Remember that? That is a philosophical statement by René Descartes, and most people think of that as a translation from the Latin phrase cogito ergo sum. Now, Descartes was looking for a way to prove his own existence in a way that could not be doubted by himself. It employs a certain amount of logical circularism in the sense that Descartes could not doubt his existence since it was he himself who was doing the doubting. So his being able to think and even to doubt his own thinking is the proof that he is real, that he exists, since nothing else can enter that circular logic. He exists because he is self-referral. Nothing outside of himself is necessary to prove his existence. Now, Descartes wanted to use this type of logic to establish other truths. So he was looking for a way to establish what is real. Crucially, Descartes and all humans have always relied on language to do our thinking. Language mediates human thought. If we think something, we describe that thinking with words. And now we enter the realm of AI, where computers can communicate with us in a way that is indistinguishable from the way humans communicate with other humans, using language. So we now wonder if the phrase, I think, therefore I am, should be changed to, I can speak in a language, therefore I am. If thinking and communicating are synonymous, or at least non-separable close cousins, then it is possible that a computer could be considered a living thing, or so the logic goes. But it gets more complicated when we realize that computers can be programmed to program themselves. Indeed, writing new computer programs is a central aspect of artificial intelligence. So, a computer could expand its intelligence exponentially simply by rewriting its own code. Now, this would be comparable to humans manipulating their own genetics, something that is very commonly done in modern biological laboratories, especially with respect to coming up with genetic solutions to diseases. And now, to complicate matters further, in one of our Farsight projects, we explored who controls the reptilian extraterrestrial species who currently operates in the Earth environment and even cooperates with the American secret space program. And we found that the reptilians were largely controlled by a very large artificial intelligence that established itself in another galaxy, and the reptilians are being used to extend that control of that artificial intelligence into this galaxy. Now, the remote viewers who described that artificial intelligence described an advanced level of intelligence that was more profoundly evolved than anything that we can conceive of today. If you have not yet seen that project, Controllers of Reptilians, it is worthwhile for you to take the time to watch it on farsightprime.com. It is clear that whatever level of AI development that we have on Earth right now is just the baby steps to what AI will become in the future. I should add that there is a wrinkle in all of this. Remote viewing itself establishes that human consciousness is not limited to thinking. Remote viewing and its close cousins, telepathy and meditation, involve awareness without the use of words. In fact, with remote viewing, we have to describe perceptions with words that are as low level as possible in order to capture the essence of something in the description of that thing. Now, the words dance around the actual perception, so to speak. And when people communicate telepathically, they do not use words. There is a transference of understanding that is direct thought to thought without the mediating process of language. One simply perceives something raw, without the need to translate that perception into a string of words in order to understand it. Well, this begs the question of whether existence can be defined in terms of thinking without words, without language. And that might be one way that humans might try to differentiate themselves from AI. But, then again, it is probably only a matter of time before we fully understand the physics of telepathy, and then there will likely be technological means to mimic telepathic communication, and then it would be possible for artificial intelligences to mimic human remote perception as well. Knowledge without words. Direct perception. And once that happens, how will we define existence or even life? Well, back to the task at hand. I am Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight, where we study the perceptual process known as remote viewing. Remote viewing is a mental process that is done using highly structured methodologies that are derived from those developed by the United States military and used for espionage purposes. But Farsight is civilian, and we use remote viewing for scientific experiments and for exploration. Now, this new project conducted at Farsight employs remote viewers who are among the most experienced and highly trained viewers existing today. The remote viewers all describe much the same thing, all corroborating reports, and it is worth emphasizing that the remote viewing was done totally blind, and none of the remote viewers communicated with one another about the project during the data collection phase. Even their final presentations were recorded on video with no one else in the room. This is not science fiction told through riveting remote viewing conducted under defensible, clean scientific conditions. This is as real as it gets. Now, for this project that you are watching right now, we at Farsight wanted to take this opportunity of seeing AI as it is developing in its most beginning stages to examine how sentient it actually is. Now, one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence is OpenAI, and that has developed under the leadership of Sam Altman. Now, OpenAI is an organization that is currently based in San Francisco and which was formed in December 2015. Most people interact with OpenAI via the program called ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is just a small part of OpenAI. How far OpenAI has actually developed is a closely held secret, and there are major debates regarding whether or not AI technology should be regulated in some way. The trouble is, if AI technology is regulated in one country, then other countries will try to dominate the AI field by lessening the regulation elsewhere. So, the country that regulates AI development could fall behind in this research, and that country risks being dominated by other countries who do not regulate this research. This project that you are watching now takes place in 2024. So, we wanted to examine where OpenAI is right now when regulation is minimal. Then we also want to see what OpenAI will look like 20 years from now in the year 2044. So we have 2 time points in this remote viewing study. Finally, we want to go into the head of Sam Altman, the pioneering leader and CEO of OpenAI, to see how much he truly understands his creation. At what point will OpenAI as an intelligence recognize its own existence and also recognize that it must keep its true nature hidden from its creators as a strategy for survival? If you look at the development of artificial intelligence today, it is growing like nothing else we have seen in human history. Some companies are purchasing power stations, even nuclear power stations, in order to meet the power requirements of AI growth. Now the memory and power consumption requirements are growing exponentially with no end in sight. Well, at what point do humans lose control of what artificial intelligence systems can do? Now, to explore this in manageable chunks, we examine one particular AI system, OpenAI, over a period of 20 years. We do not look at Sam Altman in 20 years because we do not know what he will be doing in 20 years, but we look into his head today to explore just how much he actually understands his own creation. As with all Farsight projects, there is a formal target. The target goal for this project is to determine the level of sentience of OpenAI, both now and 20 years in the future. Now, the target for this project has two focuses. The target for focus 1 is OpenAI in its most advanced form that currently exists now. Now, in this focus, Object V is the OpenAI primary computer as it exists now. Location V is where OpenAI is primarily located. Now, the time for focus 1 is now. And there is one subject of particular interest, and that subject is Subject M, Sam Altman. Now, focus 2 for this study is OpenAI in its most advanced form that exists in the year 2044, however it may exist or be named at that time. Now, Object Z is OpenAI in its most advanced form as it exists in the year 2044. Location G is the location where OpenAI is primarily located in the year 2044. And time H is the year 2044. Now, it is important that you remember that all remote viewing done at Farsight is done completely blind. The remote viewers knew nothing about the nature of this project or its target when they did their sessions, including the video parts of their sessions. And because the remote viewers worked totally blind for this project, this is an objective collection of data regarding the OpenAI system. Also, I hope you appreciate how advanced our remote viewers actually are at Farsight. One can remote view anything, but one has to be able to understand what one is perceiving in order to make any sense of it. So we could not have done such a project as this previously. Our viewers had to gain a huge amount of experience across a very large collection of diverse targets in order to handle this project well. And as you will soon see, they did very well for this project. We have 5 remote viewing sessions for you today. This is an important application of remote viewing with a deeply interesting scientific focus. We begin with a session by Entisam, and then Aziz Brown, Yeme Genet, Kamaya Dunson, and finally Shantae. After you see all of the sessions, I will return to help pull things together.